It's the new year, so it's a great time to be starting something new. And when you're starting something new, it can be very overwhelming because you don't know enough, right? And today I want to talk a little bit about how to structure your learning so that you can make the most out of your new attempts for 2026. Now, when we start something, it's easy to think that there are so many moving parts to it, right? So, for example, I play the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Jiu-Jitsu is super complicated. So there's close guard, and then there's the high guard, and then you have the open guard, and then you have the half guard, and then you have the butterfly guard, and then you have the K guard, and then you have like so many different variations of all of it. You have the cross sleeve grip, you have the collar tie, you have the cross lapel, you have the double sleeve control, you have the mount, you have the side control, you have the side back control, you have the gift wrap, you have the mount, high mount. So Jiu-Jitsu has a lot of moving parts. And in the face of this overwhelming amount of new information, we get overwhelmed. And so we just tend to flail around and then we get discouraged by it. Oh, nothing makes any sense. Okay. So it's important to stop and think, is it truly random? So for example, when you go to a slot machine, right? Or when you play Dungeons and Dragons and you do a lot of dice rolls, you understand that those are inherently chance driven. There's no way you can pull on the lever better. There's no structure to it. There's no way you can roll a dice better. It's just the dice roll. So, with that understanding, it's sort of pointless to sit in front of the slot machine and pay attention to how you pull the lever, right? Because what matters is just the next roll, and the next roll. That's what matters in slot machines and dice rolls. But now you have some more complex games like a blackjack. Blackjack has some structure to it, but in the end, it is up to the what card is next in the deck. And although it has probability and such, it's so easy to think that I mean whatever, it's all random. But when you play more and more and more blackjack, you start developing that feel of like, should I hit or not? Should I get insurance? Or sorry, I'm not up to date on my blackjack, but you see what I'm saying. And then you add more complicated features, and then now you have something like poker, where yes, you have the hand, but then at the same time, how you deal, how you bet, impacts the game as well. So you have to get an understanding of, okay, so this thing that I'm about to do, is it truly random, or when I put some mind into, when I put some direction and intention into it, does it improve? Do my odds improve? So that needs to be verified, because if I'm spending so much time developing my art of dice rolls, it's kind of pointless because it doesn't really matter. Like you're playing roulette at Las Vegas, and then there's no art in roulette, there's no skill in roulette. It's just betting, right? Well, of course you could look at probability, but I'm just saying the act of turning the roulette itself, it doesn't really have any other factor than luck. So when you are sure, when you have verified to yourself, okay, this isn't all fluke, there's some structure to it. Now, what you need to understand is you might be tempted to learn from people who have figured out the system. And systems are important because it gives you a pathway into learning, right? So, for example, in my jiu-jitsu development, I spent a lot of time in certain positions. I spent the first majority of my time escaping mount because I realized I really like jujitsu. I really like playing jujitsu. But when I get mounted, which happens a lot when you're a beginner, the game ends. That sucks. I want to continue playing the game. I don't want the game to end. But every time I'm mounted, the game ends. So, how can I prevent the game from ending? That's what motivated me to work on Mount Escape. So, now that I can escape the Mount fairly easily, what was the next blocker? Ah, I needed to learn how to escape side control because side control was where my game just stopped. Like, I want to continue playing this game, but the moment I'm side controlled, can't really do anything. So now I'm spending like 5 minutes just laying down, and I'm like, well, that was no fun at all. So working on my side control escape helped me enjoy the game more. And then I wanted to work on my attack. So I worked on my close guard attacks and so on, right? So I introduced my way of developing, but I got this path through my teacher, right? So the thing is, my teacher is good at encouraging self-development, which I think is a very important trait for teachers to have in general. But not all teachers are like that, right? Some teachers are, you have to follow what I do to the T, and then you're gonna learn what exactly, is the best way to learn this. The thing is, even if that were true, I need to be able to verify that for me. Does it? I understand it worked for the teacher, but did it work for me? And in order for me to verify that, I need to give it an earnest chance. I need to be able to look at the teacher's teachings for face value, and I need to take it in without my prejudice just to verify if it works for me or not. So the more I focus on looking at this big topic and coming up with my own system for doing it, the more better results I'm gonna have. But the thing is, just because I plan on understanding something, it doesn't mean I actually understood something, right? So this ultimately needs to be coupled by the practice. This needs to be coupled by the execution of the understanding. But too many times, the moment we get into practice, we kind of forget of our original plan. So again, taking an example from Jiu-Jitsu, I think today I'm only going to work on this one technique. But then I go into the role, and then I start fighting with somebody, and then like, oh, I get into my head, right? I completely forget what I intended to do at the beginning of the round, and then the 6 minutes run out, and then we slap and bump, and I'm like, wait, what did I do? We lose track of mindfulness as we train, right? So it's very, if you are at the point where you have a plan for how to improve, it's very important that you follow the execution while keeping in mind the plan. Otherwise, it's just a hodgepodge, right? So when I'm working with beginners in jiu-jitsu, I always ask them, why did you tap? What happened that got you into this position? And a lot of the times they're like, I don't know. And that precisely is the point, right? I need to be able to review, okay, why did I get into this position? And then from there, the development starts, because then I know exactly what I need to be looking for. Then I know what I need to solve for. And then at that point, I can Google solutions. I can look things up on YouTube, and then again, just because I saw the video for it 5 times doesn't mean the skill is mine. I need to put it into practice. So this is kind of a holistic view on skill development, and especially when it comes to approaching something you've never done before. So hope this video helps, and let me know in the let me know any questions if you have them in the comments.